Good evening, everyone. I am super excited to have you here today for our What Are You Grateful For review. You know, there has been so much going on in the year of 2020 until it's just been an amazing. But I know God doesn't make mistakes, so I know whatever happened was in his plan for us. But it just seems like, we had one thing after the other. Chaos, confusion, the election has been a mess, whatever. But I have three people coming to you tonight, and they know God, and they know about life, and they're going to tell you some things related to being grateful, because no matter what's going on, we just have so much to be grateful for. So I'm super excited to get started, and I'm going to introduce you to our first speaker, which is Pastor BJORN Burrows. And Pastor Burrows has served in various aspects of ministry for over 18 years. He presently serves as an associate pastor at Agape Christian Fellowship in Fort Myers, Florida. So he's right down the road from me. He earned a bachelor's degree of theology from the University of the West Indies in Kingston, Jamaica, and a diploma in ministerial studies from the United Theological College of the West Indies, also in Kingston, Jamaica. He has a passion to serve God and humanity by helping people to live a life filled with all the purpose that God has created them to have. Therefore, in doing so, they become the masterpiece of God's creation. Pastor Burrows is blessed to be the father of two angelic daughters, Jasmine and Brianna. So join me as I welcome Pastor Burrows.
Thank you so much, Ms. Smith. It is a pleasure to be here. It is a pleasure to be with all of you, whichever platform that you are watching on. I am just so excited to have this opportunity to share with you tonight or this evening about our grateful review. And as Ms. Smith said, right now, there are so many things going on in the world. There's so many issues that we could be grappling with social unrest, with the election that just happened, or did it really happen? I'm not too sure, but the election that just happened. And then on top of that, obviously we're dealing with the coronavirus. Everybody is talking about anti-Rona and all of that, and that entails, we have so many things that we can be thinking about, but there's one song that I was kind of thinking that has been on my playlist for this week, mostly for the last couple of days, really. It is this song that's called Alive. I don't remember the name of the artist because there's a various artists on my playlist, but this particular song, it just talks about I'm alive, and because I am alive, there is more. And so I believe right now that wherever you are watching this on, if you are on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, if you are on a website somewhere, on Periscope, wherever you're watching this on, you are alive. And because you are alive, there is more in store for you. And as she says, I am a pastor, and so I am unashamedly a follower of Jesus Christ. And I advocate for everything that the Bible suggests or says to me. And I follow it not just as a suggestion, but as a mandate for my life. And so I'm going to be sharing with you tonight, and I'll be drawing in some scriptures as well. And so guess what? Here's the deal. If you are in the chat right now, wherever you're watching this on, if you're in the chat, just, give us a shout out, just shout out where you're from. I would love, because I'm going to be connecting with you, or at least interacting with you as best as possible. And so I would love to know where you are chiming in from. And guess what? Do us a favor right now and go ahead and share this experience, because we can share memes, we can share funny jokes, we can share TikToks, we can share all kind of stuff on Snapchat or whatever. But we can share all these things. But when it comes to a positive message, something that can uplift us and help us to be more have more gratitude, I think that is something that we should share. And so I want to encourage you to share this experience. And so I'm not going to be with you too long, but as you see right here on the screen below, my title is Cultivating an Attitude of Gratitude, because we are now in this, season of just remembering what it means to be thankful about certain things. And I wanted to start off as our experience tonight, our conversation tonight, and asked, what does it mean to cultivate an attitude of gratitude? A little bit about myself. So I live in Fort Myers, Florida right now with my lovely daughters. But before that, I grew up, or I was born in the Bahamas. And I don't know if you've been to the Bahamas or heard about the Bahamas, but it's 700 islands and keys off of the coast of Florida. And so in the Bahamas, one of the things that we are known for is our agriculture or farming. All right. We are also known for fisheries and seas and tourism. We are also known for our banking, but there is finance, I should say, industry. But one of the things that we're also known for is farming. And for me, when I was growing up, I grew up in the city, right? But my mother and father, they were born in what we would call the country, or what you would call the country if you were watching in the United States. But in the Bahamas, we would call it the family island. And they grew up on one of the family islands outside of the city. And as they were growing up, one of the things that they had to do would be to cultivate. They had to grow their own farm or their own food. And so one of the things my mother and father would always tell me would be that they had to wake up early in the morning. And when they woke up early in the morning, they had to go out to the field in order to feed the cows, the pigs, or tend to the horses and stuff like that. Also to ensure that the crops that they were growing was coming up good. All right. And so so what they used to do in order for me, a city boy, to kind of experience what they experienced when they were growing up, they would ship me and my siblings in a boat. We had planes and all that good stuff, but they want us to give us the real island experience. And so we would go on what they call a mail boat. And then this mail boat was sailed from the city to the family island where my mother and father descended from. And so every summer they would do that, and they would, make us go to the family island. So initially, before the islands got so developed, I hated it. But at the same time, I was able to learn some valuable lessons as it relates to farming or cultivating crops. And I want to share some of those things today as we look at this whole idea of cultivating an attitude of gratitude, also in our gratefulness review. So here we go. So when we were growing up, like I said, we had to go to the field to make sure all the crops were tended to and were coming up well. And like I said, I didn't really like it that much. And so what I came to realize is that if you want to cultivate something of worth, it all begins with your attitude. It all begins with your attitude. That idea of having a grateful demeanor, a grateful spirit starts with your attitude. I could have easily been upset and mad with my parents for so long and said, why do you send me to this country place? Why do I have to be here right now? I don't want to be here. I want to be playing on my, but at that time we didn't have the PS5 and all these Xboxes that some of you may have, but I had like a Nintendo. I don't know if you remember the Nintendo. So if you're in the chat right now, just, let me know if you remember the Nintendo. So anyhow, so I had my game box and my games and all my friends and so forth, and I felt so isolated. But when I changed my attitude, when I changed my thinking, then I began to recognize that, you know what, this isn't all that bad. I can make something good out of this experience right now. And even now, my grandparents who have gone on to be with the Lord, they're no longer here living on earth. I do miss them, but I was happy I changed my attitude because these people, they poured into my life and they helped me to become the person I am today. All right. And so it begins with your attitude. So if you want to have an attitude of gratitude, if you want to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, it begins with shifting your mindset. And from point number one, I want to suggest to you that as we are cultivating this attitude of gratitude, we have to prepare the ground. Like I said, I remember my grandparents, they used to go out there and they used to show my parents how to do it. And my parents, when I came along, they showed me. And one of the things that Grammy always used to do, she used to prepare the ground. What does that mean? She had to get her pickaxe or her pickaxe, or what do you call it, a hoe, and they used to have to get the ground hoe, and they would have to plow and they would have to rake the ground in order to take out all of the big rocks to get to the good, rich soil. And so they had to prepare the ground. And so these rocks, so they had to get out of the way. And these rocks did serve a purpose at that time. These rocks were there for a reason. God doesn't do anything by happenstance. And so these rocks were there for a reason, but not for the reason of cultivating the good crops. And so my grandmother had to get out all of the rocks. And so for some of us right now, our attitude could be blocked by some rocks that are in the way. What are some of those rocks, you may ask? Quite possibly, all right, these rocks can be insecurity. These rocks can be fear. These rocks can be bitterness. These rocks can be past hurts that all of us are dealing with. And as I understand right now, I'm sure I was told that I'm talking with a young man, but I believe that there are many other people on this conversation right now, wherever you are watching this from. Again, be sure to share this experience, all right, so that somebody just like you may benefit from all that we have to share from all of the speakers tonight, all right, or this evening. And so, like I said, we have the rocks, and these rocks are getting in the way of us getting to the rich soil. And for some of us, these rocks, like I said, are past hurts, bitterness, past hurts, bitterness. These are insecurities or fear. And for us as young men, for a lot of young men, I know there are certain things, there's so many things that I had to deal with in terms of fear, and not wanting to step out. But here's the thing. You have to practice your faith. You have to be a person who is determined that, you know what, I am going to go out there and I'm going to try and I'm going to push. I'm going to be the person in my family, the first millionaire in my family, or even thousandaire, if that's a word, in my family. I'm going to be the first one to be significant. I'm going to be the one to be successful. You can do it. And so you have to throw off those insecurities or those fears in order to, and because these things can act as rocks or boulders getting in the way of you getting to your rich soil. So that will help to shift your attitude. Now, here's the deal. Some of us right now, you might say, well, I can't carry these rocks because these rocks are too heavy. These rocks are too heavy. But that's where I want to just say, part of my strategy for me as I grew up and as I was learning about life and so forth, that I recognized that I could not do it on my own. I could not make certain things happen on my own. I had to rely or look to God for help and sustenance, as well as I had to have mentors or somebody who could show me the way, or coaches or a coach to help me along the way. Yes, I had my parents, and that was good, but not everybody has that story. Yes, I may have had my grandmother at that time, but not everybody has that reality. But here's the deal. Somebody is assigned to you. Somebody is there to help you. And I believe right now, even for Ms. Smith, who was putting on this whole symposium, who put this all together, she is acting as a mentor. So many of you right now who are watching this, all right? And so I would encourage you, connect with her and have these conversations even more so that you can understand, or you can get some help if you have some boulders that you need to get out of the way so that you can get to the rich soil that you need in order to grow your attitude of gratitude. All right. Hope you're following me. If you're tracking with me, just put some emojis on whatever you're watching from, or just say yeah. Give a thumbs up or something like that. All right. So the first thing is, like I said, you have to prepare the ground. You have to get all of those rocks out of the way that would hinder you from getting to the rich soil, so that you can cultivate your attitude of gratitude. All right. And if you can't lift those rocks by yourself, because no man is an island, no man is unto himself, or no woman is unto herself. All right. We all need somebody. I don't know if you remember that song. Many of you, I'm dating myself right now, but I have a very eclectic taste of music. But there's a song that says, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. I don't know if you remember that, but the whole idea is that we all need somebody to lean on. All right. And so you might even right now, I guarantee you might be thinking of somebody. Yeah, I know that person helped me. That person allowed me. This is a season right now to show them the gratitude. Show them your gratitude. Let them know that you appreciate them. And I can guarantee you that as you do that, that is helping you to get rid of some of the rocks that are in the way, that are blocking you from getting to the rich soil so that you can grow your crops. All right. And then the next thing is, as I hasten on, is prepare the seed. You have to prepare the seed because now that the ground is ready and you're getting the rocks out, or you're getting help to get the rocks out, you have to prepare your seed. All right. And what does that come from? Like I said, so one of the things I recognize that my grandmother used to do, especially when it came to corn or peas, what she would do, she would harvest the peas or the corn from the previous crop. She would take out a portion of it, a very small portion of it, or take out a few kernels of corn, or take out a few peas, and she would put them on the side. And I always wondered why she was putting that on the side and not allowing it to go with the majority of the corn or the majority of the peas. What she was doing was that she was putting some on the side in order for her to have seed for another time. And so what am I suggesting to you? That as you prepare the ground, there are certain things that you have right now that you need to put aside in order for you to act as seed for the next time. And the reality of the situation is that some of you might be dealing with situations, or might dealing with boulders or rocks or whatever have you. But those are some of the same things that you can use to help build your success. All right, to build your success. But at the same time, though, as you are preparing your seed, you have to then say to yourself, what do I need to prepare that can act as seed for cultivating this attitude of gratitude? Seeds, your seeds are where your harvest will come from. Your seeds are where your harvest will come from. And so the same time, what you would do is, as somebody would have put seeds aside, you might not have seeds of your own, but you can ask somebody to help you to get the seeds that you need. And like I said just a minute ago, if you need help, and I believe all of us need help, again, I can't stress that enough, because in this season right now, if you have never asked somebody to help, then you must be got it going on. Hats off to you. I give you a virtual hand clap, okay? Hats off to you. But all of us need somebody, and somebody who can help us with seeds in order for us to put in the ground, all right? Put in the ground, prepare your seeds. Now, let me just go right here. I know I was told that we have some comments. Oh, wow. Okay. We have some comments here. So this is awesome. Now I'm on the comment side, Ms. Smith. Okay. So I'm able to see. All right. Excellent. 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 So like I was saying, we all need somebody. And so your seed, you have to put aside seeds for the future, because these seeds are what you're going to need to put in the ground in order for you to cultivate your attitude of gratitude. Because as you're doing the work of putting those seeds aside, that is right there a form of discipline that you're practicing, believe it or not. Now, I know discipline is a taboo word. It's not a word that we like to hear all the time. All right, this whole idea of discipline. But discipline, like one of my mentors said, discipline, watch this, discipline is the antidote to destruction. Let me say it one more time. He said, discipline is the antidote or the prevention of your destruction. Because if you and I can practice good discipline, then you and I would be in a place where we would be thankful for where we end up. Did you hear me? If you and I can practice good discipline, then you and I, when we get to the place that we need or we are, we would actually be thankful that we are there because we practice good discipline. Let me put this here in simple, practical terms. Imagine if you have the discipline of putting seed aside, like money aside, for your future. Then when future comes, you will be happy and you have gratitude because you said what? I am so happy. I was wise enough, I had the discipline in order to put something aside for the future. I am so happy that I did not spend all night partying with my friends, and now I have enough rest so that I can do what I need to do today or tomorrow or the next day, whatever have you. I am so happy that I paid attention or listened to my teachers when I needed to listen to them, so that when I needed the information in order to do whatever I needed to do with it, maybe an exam or get a degree, I had that right there for me. Or you might say, boy, I'm so happy I listened to mama, or I'm so happy I listened to my dad, or I'm happy to listen to grandmother, or whatever have you. I am so happy I listened then because now I have everything I need. And so that helps to cultivate your attitude of gratitude. All right. That helps to cultivate your attitude of gratitude. So when you have discipline, that putting things aside for future use, that allows you to avoid pitfalls that you may have and that others may have dealt with. You can't say YOLO all the time. I don't know if you would say that. All right, YOLO, you live only once. I think that is. So you only live once. So you don't have to practice that all the time. You can literally avoid certain pitfalls because of your discipline. All right, and part of it would be putting seeds aside. And so when you get to your final destination, you're actually glad that you got there because you practice the discipline. So let's just recap real quick. The first thing I said was you have to prepare the ground. All right, dig up some of the earth, unearth the rocks that are in the way, or even some root causes that you and I might be dealing with, some systemic stuff, some bitterness that we might have that we don't even know we had because of issues and whatever have you. But also, as you're getting rid of those rocks and past hurts or anything that you're having or dealing with, you can also prepare your seed. And as you prepare your seeds help to meet your needs. And part of it is part of the discipline. So now if you have any questions, I see some people here who are watching on Facebook. Good to have you on there. Good to see all of you who are on. So if you have any questions, just drop a comment right there. Give me a thumbs up. I see YouTube there. I see Facebook there. I see Periscope there. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So just drop some comments or questions if you have, and I'll be sure to address them as I can. And then the other thing I want to say to you is, as it relates to producing your fruit, all right, the last point is you have to produce fruit. You have to produce fruit because as you're having this attitude of gratitude, once you prepare the ground, you got your seed now ready, eventually you will produce fruit. Now, I want to park here for a little bit because this whole idea of fruit is a very significant one. Because a lot of people right now, they are walking around this world and they are existing in the world and they are not bearing fruit. Jesus even taught about it. Now, for those of you who are Christ followers or been in church for a little while, you had heard about Jesus. And Jesus was talking about this whole idea of a tree being not bearing any fruit. And eventually what he did was curse the tree, and the tree eventually shriveled up and died. Now, you might say the question, why did Jesus, who is like the Son of God, right, this divine being, why would he curse the tree and allow the tree to shrivel up and die? Okay, the reality of the situation is that tree was not maximizing its purpose in order for it to produce fruit. And so for some of us, we might have been planted, the seed might have gone into the ground and all that good stuff, but we aren't producing fruit. And that is the tragedy of this world. Miles Monroe, who is also Bahamian, but he's a very renowned speaker, he said that the richest places on earth right now is the graveyard. And why do you say that? The richest place on the earth right now is the graveyard because there are so many books, there's so many movies, there's so many creative things, so many innovative things that people were so afraid of to do, that they went to their grave with it, and they did not bring it to the earth to contribute to the world. So for us, and the thing is, I'm not saying that we're going to shrivel up and die, or that's what God wants from us if we're not producing fruit, but we could be just like the living dead. We can be living and moving around, doing what we need to do, but we are not producing fruit. And so it's just like on the inside, with nothing happening. And so here's the deal. If that is the case, then you can't have an attitude of gratitude. You can't be somebody who is happy and glad because you are not giving up something. Part of the tragedy of this world right now, as we're living in, and I'm nothing wrong with independence and nothing wrong with an independent culture. All right. Like, a lot of times, even right now, we have people, I was reading an article the other day, we have people who are fighting and saying, I shouldn't wear a mask. And these people are trying to hold me down because of the coronavirus. That's all they're trying to do, is just control. And so I'm not going to do it because this is my rights. And so that idea of independence is there. And that's all good. Everybody has their rights. And you have undeniable rights as a human being. Okay. But at the same time, what you have to think of is the collective. You have to think of everybody and what are you giving to the society? Because you can't just take all the time. You have to give. Again, Miles Monroe, you can tell I follow and study a lot from afar, Miles Monroe. And one of the things that he also said is that life is not measured by duration, but measured by donation. Meaning what you are doing right now in your life is what you are giving, what you're giving of yourself is more important than what you're taking. Because if you look at a child, a baby, you know, if a 2-year-old, maybe their favorite word is mine. Mine. I want it for me. What about me? What is in it about me? What is it for me? What is in it for me? Okay. Bump everybody else. What is in this for me? And so for us, we think about us all the time. But here's the deal. When you give more, when you give of yourself, I guarantee you feel better. Going back to my story when I was growing up, and you know, you had to go to Kid Island. One of the things that helped to shift my attitude was the fact that I should be giving more to my grandparents than I was taking. I was being selfish. I was just thinking the world revolved around me. And I wasn't thinking about what I gave. And I guarantee you, if you want to cultivate an attitude of gratitude, you need to be somebody who is giving all the time. You need to be somebody who is giving of yourself. Part of the deal, I can tell you, once I decided to give of myself more, I felt more at peace. I felt more happy. I felt more happy. And people, I can tell you, people who give more than they receive are some of the people who are most grateful for whatever it is that they get. Whatever it is that they get, they are most grateful for it. Because why? They recognize that what they have isn't really theirs, you know. They're just kind of stewarding over it. They're just kind of watching over it because, listen, unfortunately, I hate to burst your bubble, but when you're gone, that stuff that you have that you think is yours, it'll be right here. It's going to be right here. That PS5 right now that you think you want, if something would happen to you, that's going to be right here. Okay? So what you need to recognize is that as you're giving of yourself and you give more of yourself, you find yourself more at peace. And whenever you get something, your attitude of gratitude is so exponential. You're so happy because you recognize that, you know what? You didn't have to do this for me. You didn't have to do this for me. I get it. So again, let me talk about fruits. All right. So this idea of fruit and giving, okay, it's fruit. Let me focus on fruit. 3 things I want to say about fruit. Firstly, fruit identifies you. Your fruit identifies you. If your fruit is gratitude, if you're cultivating an attitude of gratitude and your fruit is gratitude, it identifies you as a person who is thankful for whatever it is you get. The same way, if you were to look at a tree without any fruit, it's very hard unless you have that trained eye in order to identify what that tree is. But if that tree has fruit on it, the work is easy. That's an orange tree. That's an apple tree. That's a peach tree. That's a coconut tree. That's a mango tree. Why? Because you are able to look at the fruit and see what it is producing. What type of tree that is. Okay? What type of fruit are you producing? How are you being identified? Are you being identified as someone who's bitter, ungrateful, selfish? Or are you being identified as somebody who is kind, who is generous, somebody who thinks of others more than they think of themselves? What identifies you? What fruit identifies you? The second thing that you recognize about fruit is that fruit attracts. Fruit attracts. As you're cultivating this attitude of gratitude, and if you want gratitude to be your fruit, it attracts to you. And that's part of the reason why people who are giving usually get people to give back to them. And when they are sincere about their giving, they usually get it back. The Bible, again, let me just talk about the Bible. The Bible speaks about the Lord loves a cheerful giver. And when you are giving to God cheerfully, The Bible also promises, God promises that he would give back to us. In one verse says, press down, shaking together. I don't know if you know, but the analogy would be you have to take the pot, you would have to press it down, and then you shake it together to make sure more fit in it, and then it still runs over for some reason. So the whole idea is when your fruit identifies you, the second thing is your fruit attracts, then you will find that people who are giving usually get either what they need or more than what they need, because people are attracted to your giving nature. When you're a person who is like for example, again, look at a fruit tree. Now, I from time to time I'd eat a good orange. I like oranges and stuff like that. And if I were to go to an orange orchard, I would be so attracted to that because I would be like, yes, that's what I like. So I'd be attracted to it. And so you will find that people would gravitate towards the thing or the fruit that attracts them. In the Bahamas, many people love mangoes. And you would find that mangoes, they would literally demolish a mango tree when it's in season because the fruit attracts them. So as you're producing fruit and it identifies you, it helps to attract people to you. And then you will find that when you are grateful and you have an attitude of gratitude, and you're cultivating that in your life, people will be attracted to you even more. Situations that you think you didn't deserve will be attracted to you even more because people recognize that you are thankful. I'm telling you, somebody told me one time, because I say thank you so much, they want to do for me more. Because I say thank you. I didn't realize how often I say thank you because I recognize for me that I didn't need it. They didn't have to give it to me. So I am thankful for it. And the last thing I want to say about fruit is that fruit nourishes. Fruit nourishes. All right? Now, this idea of fruit that nourishes is suggesting that fruit is good for food. And when you have this attitude of gratitude, you will find that people who are negative, people who are bitter, people who are just can't describe them. When they step into the room, it's almost as if all the air is sucked out of the room. It almost feels that way. But when you are a person who has an attitude of gratitude, when you are a person who's cultivating that, when you have a person who just is thankful for stuff, and they're a pleasure to be around. People would want to be around them because, like I said, fruit attracts, but it also nourishes. Because when people come around you, they would say, man, I am so happy to be around you. Man, I'm so glad you're here. I'm for no other reason, for the mere fact that you're here, I'm happy you're here. And so this idea of fruit nourishing is very, very important. So as we are cultivating this attitude, I want to help us to understand that we got to remove those blocks out of the way, those rocks out of the way. We have to prepare our seed, but also we got to produce fruit. We can't just be walking around here, and just existing. There's more to life than that. There's so much more. There's so much more for us to life. And I really want to encourage you tonight, wherever you're watching this wherever you're watching this from right now, I really want to encourage you in order to understand that, you know what? You are being given this opportunity. Like I said, as I started, you're alive and there is so much more for you. And there's so much more for your life. 2020 might have been a rough year. Not might. 2020 was a rough year. I could tell you, I've lost significant people in my life this year. And this year was rough. This year was hard. But what I recognize is that, you know what? I'm alive and there's more. And I trust in my faith really encourages me. My trust in God encourages me and helps me to understand that, you know what, I can make it. And as I cultivate that, fruit in my life, it helps to identify who I am and puts me on where I need to be. And yes, discipline is a part of it as well. Practicing good discipline. Do I get it right all the time? Nope. Am I perfect in it? Nope. I would be the first to admit it. Nope, nope, nope. But one thing I do recognize is that I realize where I want to be. And that is my goal. So on tonight, if there are any questions, and I can see, some of the questions here, some of the commenters here. I'm so happy that this is good. This is some good stuff. I'm so happy that someone said this is good stuff. And yes, Ms. Smith there, I see you. All right. And so I just want to encourage you all tonight, whenever you're watching this, if you're watching this live or you're watching this on the replay, just be encouraged that this season, as you're reviewing your gratitude, just cultivate that attitude of gratitude. Take out some of those rocks. All right. Get your seed ready. All right. And then as you get those seeds ready, produce your fruit. Because people need people to recognize that. I think the world needs more people who have a grateful spirit. And that will make this world a better place. All right. So that's all I got for you tonight. Thank you so much for having me, Ms. Smith. Thank you for everybody who is tuned in whenever you're watching this. And I guess we'll talk next time.
Thank you so much. Now, that was wonderful. In telling us about, I was thinking about it when you were talking about getting that soil ready, the rocks and the stones. That reminds me that people have obstacles in their lives that they are carrying around with them. So in order to move forward, they got to get rid of some of that stuff.
They carry like baggage, or I think one person said they can even put it in their pathway, causing them to stumble.
Right. That's good. Yes.
Yeah, or throwing it at other people.
We don't want to do that.
And we don't want to do that either.
No. And then you're saying about putting those seeds aside. Now that was right on. Putting those seeds aside, and you talking about the discipline and stuff. Now this month I've been talking about discipline all month, so you was just like all in it. But, you have to discipline yourself. You can't, like when you were younger and your grandparents were probably trying to teach you something, but they couldn't continue to do that for the rest of your life. You had to get to a point where you could be self-disciplined. I got to do things for myself because I'm going to have a family. I'm going to have to do things. My parents not always be there for me. So, people have to do that, have to step it up. So taking those seeds, that's just like, saving. So even if you were somebody was to just walk up and you give you $10 million, if you just spend it, give this person $1 million, buy 10 cars, buy 5 houses, you can't live in but one, but you just spend it, it'll be gone.
Right, exactly.
Before you know before you know it, it'll be gone. So just like she was setting some of those seeds aside, you have to set things aside. People don't realize that, it's like when this pandemic hit, that, should have been like a wake-up call, because they tell you save for emergencies.
Yeah.
And hey.
Yeah. And that's the truth. And you'll find that so many people right now, I was talking to a friend of mine who is in finance, and he said this is his business right now is booming because now everybody's kind of scrambling, trying to figure out how they're going to create that nest egg for themselves, save for retirement and stuff like that. And this, before then, when money was flowing or resources were flowing, that was not on their radar, because, but this world, the thing is, we recognize this world is, it's like ups and downs. And so right now we're in the down. Yes, I believe at some point we will get to up point, but we have to remember the lessons that we learned in the valley.
Right.
I don't mean to preach, but I could preach on that right now.
That was some good stuff. I appreciate it. And you are welcome to come back at any time. As my passion is to help young men to live their best life, because I think our young men get a raw deal. They're not all bad. We have a lot of smart young men. They want that success. And, they're beaten down and told they're no good. And some of that sinks into some people, it gives them lower self-esteem. And then they think, well, maybe they say, I can't. But yes, you can.
Yep.
So that's my passion. I want you to listen to me so I can tell you, you are important. It's not, to me, it's not Black lives that matters. It's everybody that matters. You matter because God made you, and when he made you, he broke the mold. You are important.
Amen.
You know, so that's my passion. So I hope that everyone got something out of this, and those listening, if you can share, so those that were not able to get on, they can listen at this later. And again, I thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, ma'am.
And everyone, stay tuned for our next speaker that will be on at 7 p.m. So just get yourself maybe some dinner right quick or whatever and jump back on. But we will be back with Miss Asha Scott for our second lesson in cultivating here, being grateful for what we have. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And be blessed.
Good night.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.